So Russell Westbrook has completely turned it around with the Los Angeles Lakers, embracing that sixth-man role, and has been absolutely fantastic. And believe it or not, I mean, he's played mostly with the starters and everything like that. I mean, he usually comes in like at the 8-minute mark, so it's not like he's just for the namesake is not starting. He's also the favorite to win Sixth Man of the Year, and even with everybody trying to go at him, saying he'd never change, he'd never do this, he'd never do that. All the conversations of like the Lakers would have to give up the farm to trade Russell Westbrook because no team is going to want to trade for Russell Westbrook, this, that, and the other. It's amazing how quickly the conversation can change. It's amazing how quickly Russ goes from getting booed by fans to getting MVP chants to getting, written off as like being thrown out of the league to somebody that is now all of a sudden being praised and likely is going to win the Sixth Man of the Year at the rate he's going. It's good to see for Russ. I'm really happy for Russ. And look, very likely the Lakers are going to have to trade Russell Westbrook at some point in order to, upgrade this roster if they want to. Otherwise, they're just going to ride it out this year, live with the results, and then maybe you bring back Russ on a smaller deal next year, something like that. Maybe you go get some other pieces. But nonetheless, it's interesting to see that teams are now inquiring and hitting up the Lakers for Russell Westbrook. That's right. Based on a report with Russell Westbrook thriving in his new role as a sixth man, the Lakers are now receiving calls about his availability, sources say, but talks are not at a serious stage. And while it's been a talking point on social media, the Lakers are not considering trading Anthony Davis, according to sources, for any dialogue of the nature to occur. Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul would have received calls from interested teams inquiring about his client would agree to an extension if they traded for him. Those conversations have not taken place, sources say. So again, this was in the same report that, the whole, that we've got today about the Bradley Beal and all that stuff. Now, it's funny how the narrative changes. It's funny that teams now all of a sudden want Russell Westbrook because I said this months ago. Russell Westbrook, if he embraces a bench role, there is not a team in the league that wouldn't want Russell Westbrook as their sixth man. There's not a team in the league. Golden State, you name it. Pick a team. If they could have Russell Westbrook as their sixth man coming off the bench, every single team in the league would have Russell Westbrook as the sixth man. Now that Russell Westbrook has shown the willingness to buy in and accept the role and, be a team player, teams want Russell Westbrook now. And now because that gives Lakers, some leverage in negotiations for potential trades and stuff like that for Russell Westbrook, right? Because now the conversation isn't just like, oh, Lakers have to include a first-round pick to unload Russell Westbrook. Well, now you have teams that are actually willing to trade for Russell Westbrook. Teams have always wanted Russell Westbrook from the contract, right? That was the big thing because Russell Westbrook's $47 million is essentially a board wipe for a lot of teams. I think there are a lot of teams right now that would love to take Russell Westbrook. Like a team like Miami, I'm sure that they would love to give us Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, and whoever else to go get Russell Westbrook just because of the fact that like they could clear their board. Russell Westbrook come in and be effective, play next to Jimmy Butler, stuff like that. I just don't think that makes a lot of sense for the Lakers, right? But, I mean, there are lots of teams that are, mid-tier quality teams that have guys that are on, long-term deals that they would love to unload. But do those make sense for the Lakers? That's the big point. Like even the Hornets deal, right? Does Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, do they make sense for the Lakers with the long-term money? I don't know. I mean, I think that it's a good trade, especially if you can get a Kelly Oubre or PJ Washington, something like that. But in reality, it's one of those things that's tough for the Lakers because they need to find something that kind of turns the tides for the Lakers, but also something that keeps future flexibility to where if it doesn't work out, you're not just stuck, right? But the problem is that teams like the Pacers, the Spurs, like teams like that, they're not trading for Russ to play Russ, right? They're trading for Russ to buy out Russ. So hopefully the Lakers can find a team that would want Russell Westbrook as an actual player to contribute, and then maybe they'd be more inclined to give up assets for Russell Westbrook to where you don't have to give up draft picks, right? Like if you could go and just trade Russell Westbrook for, I don't know, let's say Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose, and, Julius Randle or something, right? But you don't have to give up any draft picks, right? Like maybe the Knicks are like, oh, I'd play for, again, I'm not saying that they would. I'm just using that as an example, right? Like, let's say it's something like that, or Cam Reddish, right? Let's say you get Cam Reddish, Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose. Those three guys for Russell Westbrook, right? And the Knicks are like, oh, we don't want any first round. We just want, one, to clear the salary, and two, we want Russell Westbrook to come in, play with this team. Maybe that's something that could happen. Finding a team like that, a team that's like, hey, we have three guys we'll give you in exchange for Russell Westbrook, and we don't even want a first round pick. Maybe you have to give up a second round pick, something like that, or maybe you get a younger guy. I'm sure there are teams out there that would want Russell Westbrook. I believe, like, if Russell Westbrook was like an $18 to $20 million contract, I think almost every team in the league would be trying to trade for Russell Westbrook right now. Because you're talking about a guy that can come off your bench, be the sixth man, and give you, 20 a night off the bench and like 20 minutes of play. Like, who wouldn't want that, right? So I don't think it's unfathomable that teams are actually calling and acquiring about Russ now, because that's the big thing that everyone wanted to see, right? Can Russell Westbrook buy into the team philosophy? Can Russell Westbrook be a team player? Can Russell Westbrook come in and contribute on a nightly basis, coming off the bench? And he's shown that. He's shown that he could be that guy that could be effective, that can come in and give you, nearly a triple-double from the bench. Like, that is what many teams were hoping to see. And now that they've seen it, now the curiosity is starting to peak. But hopefully that gives you a point of leverage for, negotiations with like teams like the Spurs or the Pacers or stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, you want an asset. You want to get something for Miles Turner. You want to get something and move off of Buddy Hield because he doesn't fit your timeline. But why would we trade you, Russell Westbrook and 2 first-round picks when we could just go trade Russell Westbrook to this team over here and give up no picks, and it's like, and go get these role guys, like that could be a good leverage point for the Lakers to where, if you're the Pacers, it's like, well, we want to get something from Miles Turner and we don't have any other deals. I'm not saying that maybe that they would ever budge, but it makes it more reasonable, right? Because they could be looking at it as like, well, they are right. If we don't trade now, who's to say we get something later? Let's just get one first at least. We move off of Buddy Hield's money. We get something for Miles Turner. We take Russ, we buy him out, and then some other team can go and sign him. Like, that's something that could very well happen. That's something that could very well be the case. That's my hope, is that hopefully there's a couple teams out there that are reaching out that are like, hey, we want Russell Westbrook. We're willing to trade for Russell Westbrook. And then the Lakers could use that to go to like the Spurs or the Pacers or the Hornets or, one of these teams that could get us, because the Lakers need several guys. Like, if the Lakers trading, Russ for, 1 or 2 guys, I don't think is going to turn the tide for the Lakers. I don't. We need several like starting level players. And if we could get those several starting level players, then I think that the Lakers will trade Russell Westbrook. But you can't just trade Russ just to trade Russ. But hopefully you can kind of leverage teams together, because if there's a demand and there's a growing demand, then that's great. Because, if you're a team, right, like let's say, whatever, any team, pick a team, like, right, if you're a team, you're looking at Russell Westbrook as like, man, he could come in, he could play off the bench, he could be our 6th man of the year, he could give us nearly a triple-double night in and night out. We could even rest guys and play guys less minutes if we need to, because you got Russell Westbrook as a workhorse. And when this year's over, all of his money comes off the books. It is an absolute win-win for every team in the league. Because if it works, great. You look like an absolute genius. If it doesn't work, you just let him go. There you go. He's gone. You move off of him. The issue is, for most teams, is that his contract is so heavy, right? It makes sense for like the Hornets, the Lakers, or the Spurs, the Pacers, teams like that, because one, like the Spurs and the Pacers, they could absorb the salary. They have a ton of cap space still, and a team like the Hornets, they have several guys on long-term deals, so it makes a lot of sense for them to move on. But like, say a team like the Phoenix Suns, for example, right? Like, just throwing that out there, like, they don't have really $47 million to unload to go get a guy like Russell Westbrook. And that's where the pool is probably limited, right? Because how many teams have $47 million in salaries that they could swap out to go get Russell Westbrook. I wish we knew which teams it was, because I guarantee you one of the teams is probably Miami, just because I'm sure that they want to get off of Kyle Lowry because they made a terrible decision in signing him long-term. Duncan Robinson has become unplayable and is fallen out of his rotation on many occasions, right? And they're doing terrible right now. So I could see them being like, man, if we go get Russell Westbrook, that could really help, right? Like, so I could see Miami being one of them. But, like, outside of Miami, like, who? Like, the Knicks, maybe? I could see the Knicks maybe looking at them. Other than that, like, I don't know who else. Maybe the Nets. I could see the Nets, like, maybe now being interested in Russell Westbrook, believe it or not. It's just, question is, would Kevin Durant want to play with him? Which I don't think he wouldn't. You know, like, as far as we know that they're best friends. I mean, they were hanging out at a charity event together and stuff like that this offseason and stuff. But I don't know. I just, I wish we knew which teams it was that were, like, reaching out and calling the Lakers for Russell Westbrook. Because, like I said, there's just... I imagine it's very limited how many teams, not because they don't want him. I'm sure, like, again, I believe every team in the league, there is not a team in the league that wouldn't take Russell Westbrook as their sixth man. You know, maybe not their starting point guard or starting level player, but as your sixth man, I don't think there's a team in the league that wouldn't do it. But again, like, it boils down to how many teams can trade for him. Is the problem, because he has so much, such a large salary, $47 million. But a lot of these teams, like I said, if you could get out of some contracts and stuff like that, move some guys, even guys that you might like, you know, like even if you have a couple guys that you're like, I kind of like this guy, but like he's just on such a bad deal, you know, you can even move off of him. But I don't know. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Which teams do you think Russell Westbrook is, or which teams have hit up the Lakers about Russell Westbrook? Which team would you like to see Russell Westbrook be on? Like, if you could pick a team, which team? You know, give me some trade scenarios, some ideas, stuff like that down. Maybe we'll turn a couple of them into videos or something. So, again, I'd love to hear thoughts and opinions, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. However you feel, let me know down in the comment section below.